All right. Welcome back to the Sort of Sports Podcast. Now on to episode 19. I think it's actually, once this one comes out, we'll have the same number of episodes, total episodes for the Big Salad and just the regular show. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, this show is just whenever I feel like it. And the Big Salad is obviously scheduled. And about the Big Salad, so basically what went on is we recorded that last Monday. So that would have been that would have been the 6th. Yeah, that would have been the 6th. We recorded that December 6th. And then I went to edit it, and I could not because usually the images and the clips I was trying to get a hold of, I couldn't. My internet was being bad. So I had already had the picture of Herbert from before. That's just the image that we laid down when we recorded. So I just threw the picture of Herbert over the entire episode, didn't do any clips, didn't do the only clip I had was the intro because, of course, I've had that saved on my computer since the first episode of The Big Salad. So, yeah. So that's why that went on. And it was just, there was the disclaimer title, there was picture of Herbert, and then there was my, intro to the video that was just like, hey, this is why this happened. And then we had the intro with Costanza. So that's what was really going on there. That was the big problem with that is obviously it was about a week late, so our picks weren't, I mean, you already knew what was going to happen with our picks. Once you saw it, you're like, they predicted that wrong. So I hope that was still enjoyable and all that, and it was just the way things fell, and because of that, we just decided we're going to probably do like a mega episode next week and cover everything in the past 2 weeks, and then record our special episode we're getting out there next week. So next week will be 2 episodes. So that'll make up for the fact that there wasn't an episode of the BS this week. But on top of that, I'm doing this show. So, I mean, it all works out in the end, doesn't it? So on tap for today, we're going to start off with the MLB, and then we're just going to say it's locked out. And this was really just played for a gag. So on to the next thing is the NBA. And Steph Curry, probably the greatest three-point shooter of all time. I think he probably already was, but he broke the record, and it was quite fitting. He was in the best-looking Warriors uniform. You know me, I'm always about the uniforms. Upcoming in this episode, we're going to rank, and by we, I mean me and you listen. Or maybe you're not listening. Maybe you have this video on mute. I mean, I still appreciate you watching, but, why would you do that to yourself? We're going to rank, I'm going to rank the jerseys, the NBA City jerseys, and that Warriors jersey, their retro jersey that's blue with the red numbers with the white outline of numbers. Mwah, perfect jersey. Love it. It's like the best in the NBA. And I don't even like the Warriors stuff usually. I usually don't think their stuff looks really good. And I love that jersey. I think it's amazing. I almost bought a pair of their shorts, and then I was like, $90 for a pair of shorts? Well, then I'd feel really bad every time I sat down. So I didn't order those. But those jerseys, shorts, jersey itself, gorgeous. Thing's amazing. So I'm glad he broke the record in that. I'm sure that's what he was concerned with. He's like, I got to break it in these beautiful retro NBA 75th Anniversaries uniforms because they're amazing. The red pops, but it does. I mean, that jersey's freaking amazing. So I think it was really awesome that he broke it. It was 2,974. If I can get the image of, you should really look up the image. There's one, it was a shot chart of where all his threes was, and there's one up in the top right corner. So just look up Steph Curry career 3-point shot chart. It was it was on Twitter I saw. Actually, I saw it on Bleacher Report, but it's from a Twitter post. There was a shot that's all the way up, by the half court line. And I said to my friend, I was like, I know what shot that is. That's the one he hit over the Thunder, the Mike Breen bang, the 2016 when he hit a buzzer beater. So honestly, I said it on the BS. I think Curry's on the way to his next MVP. He's in assassin mode right now. He's no longer just. I think this is my comparison is there's number 8 Kobe, who was amazing and could score, and we all knew was the best guy and going to be one of the greatest ever, and he could do all this stuff. And then there's 24 Kobe, who was killer, and he was 8 Kobe was incredibly talented and raw and was speedy and fast and all this, whereas 24 Kobe knew he was killer. Instead of being reckless and scoring, he was calculated. He was cold. He was methodical. So I think that's really what's going on there. It's the difference between, Cavs LeBron the first time, Cavs LeBron the second time. I don't think it's a direct comparison. I don't think LeBron has ever had that cold killer phase as much. I think LeBron's was more I get to the bucket every time, and then once he came back to the Cavs, The second time it was like, I run this offense. Instead of the offense running through me, and instead of the offense running to me, I run the offense through me, if that makes sense. He was directing the offense instead of him being the offense the second time. But this isn't about LeBron. It's about Steph Curry, who undoubtedly is the best guy in the NBA now. Giannis is second at the moment. And he's probably on the way to his third MVP. And to me, this is the most impressive MVP from a statistical and team perspective, because his stats are going to be about the same as the 2016 team. But that 2016 team is crazy, uber talented. Obviously, the most talented team he's ever had is the Kevin Durant ones, but he was never going to win an MVP with KD on his team. And plus, his numbers obviously weren't as good. But that 2016, that team was firing all cylinders. There wasn't, obviously Curry's the best guy by a mile, Clay's second, Draymond was third, but Andre Iguodala would step up. Harrison Barnes, don't forget about him. He stepped up. Bogut played well sometimes. They had a lot of depth. This team does not have that. I think Gary Payton II's pretty good, but I am not a Gary Payton II truther. You know I love my Shake Milton. You know I love my Dante DiVincenzo. I see you out there, Grayson Allen, working hard. I love you too. I love those type of guys. But the Warriors, it is the Curry team. The Curry team. And they're awesome for it. They're going to reap the benefits. I've said it already. If it's a Warriors-Bucks finals, that is no complaining from me. Whoever would have thought that I wouldn't really like LeBron that much once he left, and once Curry lost KD, I grew a lot of respect for him. I think he's quickly becoming, if he can get them to the finals this year, they don't even have to win it. He's really got a great case for greatest point guard ever, because he's already up there with Magic, Kuzi, Stockton. I think people sometimes put Nash, but really Magic is the main point guard. The guy. I really can't even think of anybody that's comes close to Magic. Magic is the guy everybody always talks about. And for good reason. Magic's incredible. But Steph, Magic has an incredible resume, so it's going to be tough. But, Curry's about to have 3 MVPs, so that's nuts. Let me check here. I'm pretty sure Magic has 5 chips. I know, you're like, Ryan, you're supposed to know everything off dome. Well, for once, I'm going to check my work, all right? No, I'm going to be really embarrassed if I'm wrong. Oh, he was a 5-time champ, just like Booker T. 5-time champ. There you go for all you WWE fans out there. I'm just kidding. If you did get that reference, I see you, Dalton. Thank you. I appreciate it. My good friend Dalton listens to the pod. He watches pro wrestling. I watch pro wrestling. Booker T, 5-time world champion. Just like Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson also had 3 MVPs. He was a 2-time Steel champ. I never knew that. But he was a 3-time Finals MVP. So Curry has never had a Finals MVP. So if they won it this year, it would be his first Finals MVP. So when it comes to championships, I think Magic's a little more impressive, especially the rookie championship. That's pretty crazy, 1980. But Curry, changed the way basketball's being played. So him and Magic, I think, are probably going to go down as the 2 best ever, and we'll be arguing forever who's better. Kind of like the Kobe-LeBron thing, where it's who's better? I think, honestly, it's Kobe. I do. I don't think LeBron's getting another chip. I'm going to say it right now. All right, we moving on to the Lakers? I think we're going to move on to the Lakers. I think that's what we're doing. Also, on Basketball Reference now, they now list if you were on the NBA 75th anniversary team. That is pretty interesting, and I'm sad Dwight Howard didn't make that team. That's my take with that. All right, people who sleep on Dwight Howard. All right, NBA standings. So let's look at this. We're doing the Cavs last because I have a lot of good stuff to say. A lot of good stuff. You knew. That's the main reason I want to record this is because Evan Mobley is Rookie of the Year. They freaking nailed it. He's so good. Jared Allen should be in Most Improved Player conversations, and so should Darius Garland. Real quick, before we go full Cavs, let me just pull this up. Because I know the Bucks are my second favorite, but man, when the Cavs do well, it's so good for me. They're my absolute favorite. Here we go. Darius Garland. He's only averaging about 2 points more. Last year was 17.4. This year it's 18.9. His efficiency, so much better. He's shooting 40%, no, 50%, almost 50% better from 2. From 3, he's shooting about the same because he's shooting 2 more shots from 3, and he's only down 9. So give or take. Assists are up a whole 1.5 points. Last year was 6.1. This year it's 7.5. And then steals, basically the same, but he's playing the same minutes and he's more efficient. Granted, it is not the crazy impressive Julius Randle stuff. I get that. I do. I really do. But you got to look at this Cavs team and think the best guy on this team is Jared Allen or Darius Garland. Sexton's out. And I'm really worried about this whole Sexton thing. I think the Sexton-Garland thing's not good. Didn't work out the way they wanted to. I think they wanted to be able to run those two. And then, they lucked into Jared Allen, and now they don't know what to do. Because Jared Allen is the franchise center. Mobley's the franchise 4. The 5's probably going to be a Okoro, potentially. And then Seti might be there forever, just off the bench, just franchise guy. I love Osman. He's really solid. Then Garland and Sexton, but I don't know. I think Sexton might be limiting Garland. So if they move Sexton and they just put Okoro at the 2 and they can get a good 3, I'd love that. If you can get a package for Brandon Ingram, do it. Granted, that's a terrible move for the Pelicans because you're just getting the ball more and more out of Zion's hands. But to be honest, the Pelicans make bad moves all the time, so who cares? Also, Jared Allen, I just realized most improved player conversation is so much better than the one I try to give for Garland. So let's talk about him real quick. 17.3 points. That's 4 more than last year, almost 4 on the dot. It's 3.9. Personal fouls per game. Yeah, I'm going to talk about how those went up. I'm just kidding. Sorry. Blocks per game, still about the same. 1.3 last year was 1.4. Steals, we don't care about that, though. Total rebounds, he went from 9.9 last year in Cleveland. Overall, last year was 10. And then this year, 11.1. So overall, last year, it was 12.8. So his points are even lower last year if you take out. I was just reading the ones at the Cavs. So I got to look at all of it. Sorry about that. His effective field goal percentage. So the 3-point is worth 1 more point than the 2-point field goal. So that's really not going to benefit him crazy much. But he's shooting 7.16 from that. Last year, 6.24. Just regular 2-point percentage, 7.27. He potentially has the ability to break a stat where you shoot over 70% with over, I think it was something like over about 8 shots per game. Now, how many field goals does he attempt? Yeah, he attempts 9.8. So I think it's over 10 shots a game, and you're shooting over 70%. No one has ever done that. Not Kareem, not Dwight Howard, not even Shaq did that. Let me make sure that's what I'm talking about. I know this is bad journalism. I don't completely remember. I know. I'm sorry. I really am. Let me see. Yeah, here it is. I read this on the Cavs website. Yeah, see, I scroll the Cavs website. I'm just your classic modern person. I just only read what I agree with when it comes to sports. I'm like, yes, I'm only gonna read my team stuff. I'm kidding. I try not to do that. I really do. I try to be unbiased. So here we go. Yeah, 10. Oh, here it is. He would be the first player in NBA history to average 15 points, 10 rebounds while shooting 70% from the floor. Wilt never did that. Kareem never did that. Shaq never did that. Or even Giannis. And I love me some Giannis. But yeah, Jared Allen is actually my favorite guy on this Cavs team. I love Jared Allen. I love the afro. He's got like the best afro in the NBA. His look is great. He's a really funny guy. I like him in interviews. I don't know. He is my guy for the Cavs. I'm really happy they got Mobley. I was a Mobley truther when the draft came around. I was so happy he went to the Cavs. But just like as a fact of who's your favorite guy on the Cavs? Mobley. No, not Mobley. What am I saying? Who's your favorite guy on the Cavs, Ryan? It's Allen. He's a hard worker, hard-nosed center. And center is such a valuable position in the NBA anymore because most of those guys become 4s. And if you're good at being center, there's probably only like 4 or 5 other guys who can compete with you. That's why they run Giannis as center sometimes, and it's crazy. He cooks down there. He's a true 4. Giannis is like a perfect 4 in my opinion. Him and Tim Duncan are like the two opposites of a perfect 4. KG's like somewhere in between them. He's a little more Duncan than he is Giannis, though. All right, so let's look at NBA stand. I know I said I was doing my Cavs later, but I might as well do it now, like I said. They're the 4th in the East, 17-12. Keep in mind here, they had the hardest, they had one of the hardest NBA schedules in the first, 2 months of the year. And literally, They're 2.5 games back to be the leader in the freaking East. If they were in the Western Conference, they'd be the 5 seed. You can't give me that BS. Granted, they didn't play all the same teams, but they've been playing tough teams. Let me just read you this Cavs schedule real quick. Let me go. Yeah. So they start off the year. Let me go. That's preseason. Let me go. They start off the year. They lose to the Grizzlies by 11. The Grizzlies have been cooking. We're about to talk about them. Then they lose to the Hornets. Then they beat the Hawks by 6. And everybody's like, oh, okay. They beat the Nuggets by 12. They beat the Clippers by 13. They lose to the Lakers by 12. I was watching that game. I was upset. Then they lose to the Suns. Everybody does that. Then they beat the freaking Hornets. And the Hornets are such a fun team. Don't worry. I got the most watchables. I know you've been waiting. The Hornets, fun team. They beat them by 3. They beat the Blazers by 3. They beat the Raptors by 1. I was watching that one. That was awesome. They beat the they beat the Cavs. Yeah, the Cavs beat themselves. No, they beat the Knicks, team I really like, by 17. I think that was a big Rubio night too. They lost to the Wizards by 3, so that broke their 4-game win streak. Then they turn right around, beat the Pistons by 20. They beat the Celtics by 2. Then they lose to the Celtics 2 days later by 6. But then they lost the Nets by only 10. The Nets, this team that everybody says NBA Finals already, which I'm not really with yet. They only lost by 10. The Warriors beat them because Curry, like I said, has been amazing, MVP this year. Then they lost to the Nets again by 5. They lost to the Warriors by 15. Then they lost to the Suns, but everybody does that, like I said before. But it was only by 5. So they're in every single one of these games. They have yet to be, do they have any 20-point losses? This Suns one, I think, is the closest. It's a 19-point loss. Yeah, they've never lost. Yeah, they've never lost by 20. I mean, more than 19, I guess, is what I should say. Their biggest loss is by 19. So, yeah, this team's epic. Other than that, they beat the Mavs, then they beat the Heat, then they beat the Wizards, then they lost to the Jazz by 1. They lost to the Bucks by 8, but they beat the Bulls, they beat the Timberwolves, they beat the Kings, they beat the Heat it was Monday night. And then tonight they play the Rockets. They're going to get a win there, and then really excited for this game Saturday. Bucks, and I think it's in Milwaukee. Yes, it is. So, yeah, I don't think people, including myself, expected the Cavs to be the young team that shocks everybody this year, but it's us, and I'm here for it. I'd rather have it be us than the Pistons. I got a soft spot for the Pistons. Living in Ohio, they're close, bad boy Pistons. But honestly, 4-22 right now, they're better off to just start looking at my guy Paolo Banchero or Chet Holmgren, or hoping they get a top pick, because if they get Paolo Banchero on that team, it's over. By 2023, 2024, they're going to be a contender. They might even win the finals. That team will be insane. But somehow my Cavs got it together. I mean, you got Lowry Markkanen there off the bench. He's good. Mobley, Allen, Garland are the 3 big guys. Well, I mean, only 2 of them are big, but you know what I mean. They're the dogs, and they're the guys that are leading this team, and that's why they're a good this is a huge difference from last year. I mean, last year, the Cavs have 17 wins. Last year, they won 22 games in the whole year. Granted, it was only a 72-game season. But even still, you can say they win all 10 of those games. They're still only at 32. They've already won half of those games. They've already won half as many games as they did last year. Over half, actually. And they've only played 29 games. They're about 3 quarters. So, this team's awesome. Awesome. And I can't wait for the playoffs. I mean, if we can get into the playoffs and play for the 4 right now, play like the Sixers, we move on to the second round. We beat the Sixers in a 7-game series. Let's go. Then we'll probably run into the Bucks or the Heat. And hopefully we win. I don't know. Somebody asked me today, they're like, what would you do if it's a Bucks-Cavs playoff series? And I said, well, I pray it's the Eastern Conference Finals. So then at least one of my guys is getting in the finals, either my guy Giannis or my team, the Cavs. And I'm like, and I honestly root Cavs because the Bucks had theirs last year. So let's get that Cavs. Get it, J.B. Bickerstaff. Coach of the year, J.B. Bickerstaff. I mean, I might as well give my predictions. I mean, right now it looks like Curry's MVP, Rookie of the Year is Mobley, Coach of the Year, J.B. Bickerstaff, Most Improved Player. Honestly, I think Jared Allen might have this bagged. If he has that crazy record, he keeps shooting so well, he looks crazy. I mean, other guys have potentially have a chance. how much is Caruso averaging? Is Caruso's numbers crazy up? I mean, I know they're up, but are they that nutty? I mean, should I check this? Yeah, I will. Yeah, it's only 8.4 points. It's usually a points-driven thing with most improved, so I think Allen might have this bagged. He's been crazy. So maybe Allen gets the most improved. I don't know. I love the most improved player award. In the last 5-6 years, it has become the, who became a star this year award. Like before, it was just like, oh, Goran Dragic went from being bench warmer to starter. Good for him. Now it's like, no, Julius Randle went from being pretty good to incredible. Most improved player. You became pretty good to MVP level guy. We were talking about him for MVP at the end of the year. That was crazy. So I love the most improved player. I think it's so interesting. DPOY, I mean, we don't know yet. Nobody knows. With Ben Simmons being out, nobody knows. Hopefully it's not Gobert. I think Gobert's kind of overrated. So I don't know why I said it like that, but I did. What else am I forgetting? Sixth man. I got to think on that one. Really not sure. I think I wrote something down for the beginning of the year. Honestly, maybe Jordan. Didn't I say Jordan Poole at the beginning of the year? Yeah, I think I did. Let me check this really quick. Yeah, Jordan Poole or Tyler Hero. Oh, it's Tyler Hero probably at this rate. Yeah, it'll be Tyler Hero. Don't sleep on my guy, Ja Morant. Dude's a dog. Let's go over to the Western Conference. Oh, also in the East. Good job, Bulls. Everybody, round of applause. Congratulations on being one of the most fun teams in the NBA. Yes, you're on the most watchables. Think I have them top 3. I don't want to spoil too much. Ooh, I don't, but we'll see. There's a good explanation for why. It's called bias. The Bulls really been cooking. I mean, 17-10, only 2.5 games. Also, I think I misspoke earlier. I think I said this Cavs are 2.5 games back. They're 3.5 games back from the Nets. Still very impressive. But the Bulls, I mean, whew. Billy Donovan, I called him coach of the year maybe at the beginning of the year, and he might actually get it. I think it's might be Bickerstaff. It's like him, Bickerstaff, the two main guys. But, yeah, I mean, they're so fun. DeMar's been the best DeMar DeRozan we've ever seen. Lonzo's great. We all knew Zach LaVine was a dog, and now he's got COVID. I kind of feel bad this entire team's getting their games canceled. It's also killing my fantasy team, my fantasy basketball team I have, because I have Zach LaVine. Nice thing was I did get Ja Morant, so I'm very, very happy about getting Ja because he's one of my favorite players. I think I've said that before on the pod. Is Ja Morant is probably my favorite point guard in the NBA right now. Think I can say that? Yeah, I mean, it's probably him or Garland. And my favorite center is Jared Allen. Easy. And then probably Joel and Bam, maybe. Bam. I like Bam. Giannis, obviously, my favorite power forward. So small forward used to be Kawhi for a while. I'm not even sure who it is. Shooting guard's Luka. I still count Luka as a shooting guard, and you should too. He is. I do like Trae Young because he's such a big villain. So, all right, let's get back to that. The Bulls, they're cooking, but I feel like they're a really bad case of we're going to be great in the regular season and then not do well in the playoffs. I just got that vibe about them. Hopefully they prove me wrong. They're like the reverse Hawks from last year. But the Hawks went on a great late run. And let's talk about the Hawks. Let's do it. The Hawks, of course, obviously shocked everybody. They went from being a team that was, went on a big late run in the regular season, but didn't really catch anybody's eye. And then playoffs, bam, they popped off. They were crazy. Trae Young was cooking. Everybody started talking about, is he better than Luka? Is that trade the most fair in NBA history? It is one of the most fair, easily. Trade is perfect for both teams. Because, I mean, maybe the Hawks win it because they get Cam Reddish, and they might be able to move him to the Cavs for, hopefully not just Sexton for him straight up. I'd hate that. Plus, I'd give Trae less ball, so that, less, ball handling. You know what I mean? Trae would give it to Sexton. I don't like that move at all. But whatever. Point is, I think the Hawks are going to get it together. I really hope they do. They got a nice thing going with Trae and all that, but at least I got a good city jersey preview for earlier. But I think they're going to get it together. Nate McMillan, I trust him. Really, I could see them taking the Wizards spot. The Wizards went on a pretty hot run, but now they're on a 2-game losing streak, and away they're only 7-9. At home they're 8-4. So all the other teams above them have winning records both home and away, except for the Heat. They're 8-8 away, but it's not really a losing record either. I guess I should say a non-losing record. But yeah, the Wizards in their last 10 are 4-6. To put that in perspective, the Cavs are 8-2. Bulls are 5-5. Bucks are 7-3. Nets are 7-3. The only one above them with a losing record in the last 10 games is the Heat, because the Heat have slowed down a little bit. So, yeah, the Wizards, I don't buy it. I think this might be Beal's last year potentially with them. But granted, we said that for 2 years now. So I'm not really sure here about the Wizards. I think if they fall down to the bottom 4 or 5 seeds in a non-play-in team, they'll trade him at the deadline. But if they're a play-in team, he'll have a crazy good play-in game. Might lose it, but he'll probably drop 40, and then that'll go on, and he'll be gone. So he'll go to the Nuggets and just create an instant finals favorite for me, because the Nuggets with him is just a perfect pairing. The Nuggets with Beal would be nuts. It'd be, instead of nutty, it'd be nuggety. I hated that. I shouldn't have said that. All right. Yeah, I can see the Hawks taking their spot. Celtics, as always, are a disappointment. Happens every freaking year. Right now they're 500. In the conference, they're 9-8. In the last 10, they're 4-6. They're on a 1-game winning streak. Congrats for that one game. You'll probably lose next time you play, Celtics. Sorry, it's freaking true. Let me see who they play next. Let's see. The Warriors, yep, they're losing. They're not beating them. If they do, everybody comment down below. L for me, not for the Celtics. They're used to seeing those. I don't know why I'm making fun of the Celtics so much. I think I just get frustrated because I love Jason Tatum. He's not one of my favorite players, but I love the way he plays. He's so good, and I know he's really popular anymore. People really like him. People take him over Donovan Mitchell, which hurts my feelings because I think Donovan Mitchell is better. Donovan Mitchell might actually fight Luka for my favorite shooting guard in the league, but whatever. Donovan Mitchell, look at his Jazz team. They're literally the 3 seed right now, 19-7. That would be the best record in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, they don't always play the same teams, but you get what I mean. In their conference, they're 10-2. That's the best record in the Western Conference. The Warriors are 12-3 in their conference. They're on a 7-game winning streak right now. The Jazz cook. Donovan Mitchell is so good, and I'm not, obviously the argument you can always make is well, take him off the team. They don't do that well. You trade the players. But sometimes there is a good point to saying that in context. And I'm saying with this one, look at that Jazz team without Donovan. You really think Jordan Clarkson and Joe Ingles are going to go off and get them, a 500 record? They're below 500. Gobert's not going to average more than 18 at most. 18 is his peak. I don't know if he's ever even averaged 18. I don't think there's ever been a year in Gobert's career where he's averaged 18. I'll check Basketball Reference. Basketball Reference really getting a lot of visits from me today. Let me go to the Jazz real quick. I don't think he's ever... Yeah, the most he's ever averaged was 15.9. So, yeah, Donovan's crazy. I mean, that Celtics team, look how much talent's on that team. Schroeder's been a good pickup. Brown's amazing. Tatum's amazing. Al Horford I like there. Marcus Smart's amazing. I love Marcus Smart. So, Marcus Smart is the most overqualified for what he does ever. He's so good at defense, on-ball defense, and he's so shifty with the ball, and he can make middies. He's so overqualified for the roles they put him in. And yet he does it. He's just a dog. I love Marcus Smart. But Marcus Smart to me is better Pat Bev, in my opinion. So, Celtics, maybe that's what we'll do next time for episode 20. We're going to go every team Shake Milton. Just they got that tough guy off the bench. I'll have to decide if it's Grayson or Dante DiVincenzo. I think DiVincenzo is probably the winner for the Bucks because I think enough people talk about Grayson Allen lately because he's been having some big nights every once in a while. He had a 20-point night a couple nights back, so he's pretty good. I like Grayson Allen on the Bucks. But back to what I was saying with the Celtics, I probably a play-in team, honestly. I'm not impressed with them. I'm really not. I don't know what they can. I don't know what they should do. I don't know. Danny Ainge just got hired to the Jazz, so we must like Donovan Mitchell more too. Oh crap. Yeah, but that was an argument. I mean, not an argument, a discussion. A friend of mine and I were having. We're like, 2017 draft, you taking Donovan or Tatum, number 1 pick, in context, what's going to happen in the future. And he's like, oh no, Tatum. He's going to lead my team in chip. I was like, I'd rather take Donovan. I mean, I think Tatum's incredible, but I think Donovan just got that drive and will to win that he put the Jazz on the freaking map. He did that. So he's a franchise changer. So yeah, I mean, at least Jason Tatum got those cool Ruffles commercials. I had those Flamin' Hots. Those are really good. I love Ruffles. Like, best chip, easy. Me and my friends are talking top 3 chips. Ruffles. What was it? It was Ruffles, Pringles, Doritos. Those are the best 3. Sun Chips, honorable mention. I'm saying like any flavor. I mean, obviously there's a peak flavor for each. The best flavor of Doritos got to be just nacho cheese. Shout out to the what is it? It's the purple bag. It's like a flamin'. I don't know if it's flamin'. Shout out to the purple bag, and also shout out to the original Doritos, ones that are taco flavored. Those are good too. Let me go to the purple Doritos real quick. Those are, oh yeah, spicy sweet chili. Oh, those are so good. Those are amazing. Yeah, you gotta love Doritos. Everybody likes Doritos. So reliable. And then Ruffles best is obviously the sour cream and cheese, but don't sleep on the original or the sour cream and onion. But then Sun Chips, I mean, the cheese are great, but the originals are great too. I mean, even the sour cream and onion Sun Chips are good too. And then Pringles, sour cream and onion, easy. But I've had people I know like vinegar. I like the cheese a lot and the original. So, yeah, those are like the top 3 chips. Honorable mention, Sun Chips. So back to the topic that we were actually talking about, the NBA. Ruffles, I think, is the official chip of the NBA, so they picked wisely. That is the best chip. So let's flip over to the Western Conference, because we've talked enough about the disappointment of the Celtics and how, we knew the Bucks and Nets would be top teams. I don't really talk about that. The Heat are like one of those teams that I think are like going to just pop off in the playoffs. Sixers are still like, I think they're not going to do a lot this year, which is sad. The Hornets will just continue to get better every year. This isn't their year. Oh, wait, one more thing in the East. My Knicks. I love this Knicks team. I really do. I love what they got going on with Randall. I think RJ's looked better every year he's in the league. Eventually, he might be an all-star level player by his 4th or 5th year. He's great. They better not let him go. I love what they're doing with him. He's going to be really good. I don't know what they got to figure out. They got to figure something out. The Knicks, for those of you who don't know and aren't staring at the NBA standings right now, which is probably all of you, are 12-16. In their last 10, they went 4-6. But away, they're 3-10. They basically only win when they're in MSG. They were 9-7 at home. So, and Curry just, dropped the record on them, the 2,974. Is that what I said? Yeah, 2,974. Yeah, so they lost by 9 to the Warriors. But, yeah. So Randall is probably a big reason they're struggling. I mean, he is averaging 5 less points than he was last year. His field goal percentage is a whole about 3. It's like, about 3% lower. So, I mean, if you're rounding, yeah, about 3% lower. It's nothing crazy, but it's a little worrisome. It really is a little worrisome. I mean, Julius, I think, is still an all-star level guy, but he's just not having as big of a year he was last year. But, I mean, let's look at his true shooting percentage, because, that factors in free throws and everything, and I like that. I prefer true shooting any day of the week over field goal. Yeah, he's 52.9. So now you're like, okay, well, that doesn't really mean anything to me because I don't have any context. That's fine. We'll just do who's somebody that's amazing. Let's do Giannis's true shooting, and then we'll do Curry's. Let's do 2 of the best players to put it in perspective. So Giannis is a 60, and then Curry's is a 62.6 in his career. What is it this year? Can I get it this year? $60.6. So, I mean, he's shooting pretty well. He's actually shooting quite efficiently. It's just he's not putting up as much numbers. So, but I think other guys got to step up for the Knicks. I'm telling you, RJ needs to take a bigger role. I like Quickly. I like all the pieces they have. I think Derrick Rose has rejuvenated his career over there. They're a good team. It's just they have to win in the regular season because we're not sure how well this team can do in the playoffs. So you got to win now. You don't want to be a play-in team. They're going to make the play-in at least. They're that good. I mean, they're good enough to do that. But ideally, you're a 6 or 7 seed, which I could definitely see him grabbing over like the Sixers. Just might take a little bit. But, I mean, the Raptors have a better record than them right now, and so do the Hawks. And I think they're better than them. I think they're better than the Celtics. I think they're better than the Sixers and better than the Wizards. So, really, there's only 7 teams I think that are better than them. So, essentially, they should be the 8 seed, which I think is what I had them at the beginning of the year. So, I lucked out. All right, let's switch over to the Western Conference, where the Warriors lead 23-5. It's crazy. Suns are right behind them, 22-5. Jazz are right behind them, 19-7. The Grizzlies, let's go, Ja, 17-11. The Clippers, 16-12. Lakers, 15-13 right now. And then after that, it's Mavs, Nuggets, Timberwolves, Kings, Blazers, Spurs, Rockets, Thunder, Pelicans, dead last. Holy crap. The NBA with the Pelicans, I mean, I don't know if the draft lottery is rigged, but if it is, they were really trying to get in the New Orleans market with Zion, and they completely failed. Completely. I mean, it's not good what's going down there. So I think Zion might legitimately leave. Like, it would be unprecedented for a guy to leave before his rookie contract is even up, but he legit might. I mean, he's good, other than the fact, like, he's been having, I don't know what's going on with him, because people are like, yeah, Zion's washed, he gets hurt all the time, and I agree, like, he does get hurt all the time, and he has injury problems, and the weird weight gain stuff. But there's another part of me that looks at his numbers from last year, and I'm like, oh crap, he was good when he was there. So it's a weird thing with Zion. I think he's definitely not like Sam Bowie, or it's just like you got Jordan drafted right behind you. Ja is no Jordan, but Ja is amazing. So I just think it's a case of Pelicans management, like we've always run into. The Pelicans never had good organization. Never. Even they had AD there. He was the one diamond in their very, very rough. So I don't even know. I don't think that was grammatically correct, but it made sense. So yeah, they're terrible. I mean, they're a complete crap show. It's not like the Pistons where you see flashes of greatness with Cade and Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew. And my guy Sadiq Bey. Love Sadiq Bey. So yeah, but oh yeah, the Pelicans crap show. I don't know what Zion's gonna do. Hopefully he doesn't go to Lakers. I'd hate that. He's from California. Oh crap. Maybe he'll go Clippers. Be counterculture. All right, so the Lakers. Back to the original topic we were talking about 20 minutes ago. So the Lakers, to me, I honestly think they're better. They might be better off without LeBron. And I know you're like, what the heck? Are you freaking serious? I'm like, all right, so a terrible thing just happened. I was recording, and I unplugged my headphones, and because I was wearing headphones before, and I lost and I thought it was still recording once I unplugged my headphones. It wasn't, so that's why this audio just cut randomly, because I was talking about the Lakers, and I just kept talking, and then I realized about 20 minutes after I did that it completely stopped recording me. So that sucks. I guess I'll summarize what I said, because now I'm a little more, like, I knew, what I mean? I knew what I was saying. So I was talking about the Lakers and all that. Basically what I wrapped up with was the Lakers. The verdict's yet to be out, but I do think it's really interesting, the optics on what it does to LeBron's career, because, Magic has 5 chips. Also on Basketball Reference, I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but he has, they put the 75th anniversary teams, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, LeBron, I really got to stop with the technical difficulties in the recording. That sucks. I didn't know it'd do that if I unplugged my headphones. Crap. So basically, I think it's really interesting optics-wise, because he's going to have less rings than Kobe and Jordan. I really think Jordan's going to always be seen as greater than him, because if he can't get that, he can't get a 5th ring. I mean, whatever. I also talked a little bit about if I thought sports were rigged. I really hope they aren't, because with WWE, it's fine because they play into that, whereas with Pro, I really hope they aren't rigged. But I do think they definitely, probably talk to them and are like, hey, it's game 5. Can you let this go to at least, one more game so we can get a little more? I think that definitely goes on, but I'm not sure about, rigging them. I like to think it's not, but I don't have all the answers. I know, you got me on a video saying that. But I talked about the Pelicans and how they're a total crap show, and how, I think Zion might do the unprecedented move and leave as still on his rookie deal. I think that could be wild. I also talked about the Thunder, and I think Sam Presti and them, since they've accumulated all these picks, the odds are they might not ever get in the top 3 picks and get that franchise changer. So I think they'd be better off to just make a big trade for a superstar that becomes available that can change their franchise, and just be like, here's our 10 first-round picks. Give us, Shake Milton level guy. You gotta love those. A Zion, and the 32nd pick in the draft, and we've got a deal. something like that, instead of just like hoping that one of those guys hits, because SGA is like your best guy you might potentially ever get because he's amazing. He's like the new D Wade. He's like skinny D Wade, but you traded for him. It's not like they drafted him, so I think that's interesting. What else did I talk about? I talked about the Grizzlies, how I'm proud of Ja. That might have already been before that. I talked about the Suns a little bit more about, they really got a hit on it this year because they need Paul there to run the offense. You can only depend on him because he's like getting older. So I think Paul's 36. Let me check. I mean, maybe he's older than that. Chris Paul age, he is 36. Man, got lucky. Yeah, so I think the Suns, Warriors, Jazz, Grizzlies, Clips are all going to be, in that same. That five is probably all going to be the five in the playoffs, like the first five in some capacity. So now let us move on to the NBA City Edition jerseys. So I want to give an honorable mention last. We're going to start number 5. I originally had the Bucks here, but I'm honestly going to put the Clippers here. I love this Clippers orange and blue. I think it looks great. I love what they did. They went from their summery vibes. I think it's a really great choice. They did last year. They did the gangsta look, which I loved. Really loved that look. But this is a lot more fun and like pops. And I honestly, it'd be cool if they just made this their alternate. But granted, they do have really nice regular jerseys. But it really stands out in like the NBA climate. That's what I love about the City jerseys. They stand out. Number 4, you have the Bucks. Love what they did here, but I'm really excited for is the earned version of this, where it's going to be like purple with green and white, I'm assuming is what they're going to do. Maybe green with purple and white, but hopefully they do a purple jersey. I just love the Bucks purple and green stuff. I think it looks a great look. 3 is what I call bias. I gave it to the Cavs because my favorite Cavs uniform is the orange one with the blue. Not the blue with the orange, like the orange jersey with blue outlines on the numbers. Love that. And there's a striped jersey, which is my second. They're yellow and maroon stripes they used to have in the 70s, like the first Cavs uniform. And I love that look. Actually, that was the second Cavs look. I think the first is the one that says Cavaliers and a little text on it, which I've never liked. It's one of my least favorite Cavs uniforms. Up there with like the ones that said Cleveland and LeBron was first there. I never liked those either. But yeah, this is a great look. I love the striped Cavs look, and I like the old logo. I think it's quite fun. Number 2, the Big Birds. But not that big bird, different one, is the Atlanta Hawks one, the yellow. I love these with the big birds on them, the big Hawks. So I think it's a great look. It's like the best Atlanta Hawks look. Along with, the current jerseys they wear, because the current jerseys they wear, like the red version of that, perfect. Love those. And then first one, it's really not too hard for me. Also, I'm not doing the Utah Jazz or the Suns ones because they're the same ones as last year. And while they would totally be in this top 5, I can't really include them because they were the same as last year. Number 1's got to be the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, this team went from having the worst looking stuff in the NBA when they were the Bobcats to then the worst looking stuff in the NBA when they were the Hornets with Kemba and all that to the best stuff in the NBA. Like LaMelo completely transformed this franchise both on and off the court. Like their jerseys are crazy now. They're the best in the league. I think they should just make this their alternate instead of having like the purple alternate they wear that says CHA on it that just looks more like the older Hornet stuff. No, just make this the alternate. This is gorgeous. I'm usually not a fan of the faded jerseys like the Rams wear, but this is awesome. This jersey's amazing, and I love the honeycomb look. Oh, it's so good. And it's got, Jordan's logo on it. Sweet. Honorable mentions. Got to give it out to the Raptors one. I can understand if you said this is your favorite. Completely get that. I don't know why this gold jersey isn't hitting as much for me. I don't know what it is, but I really like it. Honestly, my favorite Raptors jerseys are the ones that were the North, that they white and the red that they wore with Kawhi. Those are sweet. Honorable mention to the Grizzlies one. That was a really nice one. I'm not putting the honorable mentions up on the screen. You can just look these up if you're interested. The Grizzlies one is really nice, where it's got the little things on the sleeves. I think it's a good look for them. It's like a modern yet retro look. The Pistons one's really nice. It's a really nice red jersey. Usually the Pistons red jerseys aren't the best look, and this one is. What else do I really like? Oh, I like the Warriors black one with the lightning bolts on the side. Shout out to the Oakland Warriors. That's a cool meeting. I like black for Warriors stuff. I think they should use it more often. Denver's with the rainbows looks nice, like it always does. The Wolves one's really sweet, and they even have the trees on the little like lining, and that's a great look. The Wizards is nice, where it's bright blue with the red. I really like that look here. I'll just put this entire image of all the jerseys so you can see them. I'll just do that. That's probably what I'll do. I think I can be able to do that. And then The Spurs, I wish they would have went full Fiesta instead of just like half. Like last year they went full Fiesta with it. This year they just kind of went half. Worst one by a mile is this New Orleans one. That's terrible. Absolutely terrible. So, yeah. Hate that. I mean, the only good jersey the Pelicans ever put out is the Mardi Gras ones from last year. And yeah, they've never had good jerseys. They've always had crap jerseys. So, Pelicans never had good jerseys. So, that's that. And then the Oklahoma City Thunder one just looks like a big pillow. Don't like that. And then the Miami one, not into that. The ransom note, didn't like when the Cavs did that last year. I don't even like it more now this year. I mean, the Cavs one wasn't even as bad as this. I don't like this at all. I don't know what they were thinking on this one. This is not a good look. So, don't like that. All right, I think that's it. And now we're going to move into the segment I was doing about 10 minutes ago, originally. The most watchables. Number 5, I don't think it's going to surprise anybody there on the list. It's the Knicks. I like the hard-nosed basketball Tom's got them playing. I really like Barrett. He's like the most fun part to watch about that team as you see him develop. And then Randall being good is just so fun. I'm so glad Randall's good. So that whole thing's very exciting. I don't know really much else to say. They just play hard-nosed basketball. Then 4 is the Bulls. The Billy Donovan offense is fun to watch. DeMar going off is fun to watch. Seeing Lonzo is the best Lonzo's ever been playing is really fun. I like watching Lonzo and all that. Overall, the Bulls are just like a really fun team. I really like what they got going on. And they got good jerseys. Oh, the Knicks retro jerseys. Love those ones too with the stripes. It's something about the stripes and the lining. I love that look. 3 is the Cavs. I mean, you're going to see the big men. You don't get to see a lot of big men play. And this one, you get 2 great big men. You get Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. So, like, what can you lose? You can't lose. And Garland's great, too. And they're a tough team. And Bickerstaff's a great coach. I mean, they're very similar to the Knicks where they're tough and they play a different brand of basketball than most teams in the NBA. So that's fun. Warriors, it's literally just because of Curry. You're seeing the best player in the basketball and one of the best to ever play. So, And this is like the best he's ever been playing, in my opinion. So, it's crazy. And number 1's the Hornets. I think they might be the kings of the most watchables. I don't know. It's going to take a lot to drive them off. And I know you could be yelling at me and be like, where's the Suns? I like what the Suns do. I think they're a very fun, watchable team. They are 6 for me, though. If I did a whole list, they would be 6 because I'm just more into what the Hornets got to offer with LaMelo, and they got the best home announcers. And I like James Borgiano, their coach, Miles Bridges. I should have mentioned him earlier. He might be most improved player, actually. Sorry, Allen does not probably have it bagged. It's probably Miles Bridges. I apologize, Miles Bridges. It's probably you that has it bagged. You've been cooking this year, so it's probably Miles Bridges. Jared Allen has a pretty good chance, too, but it might be Miles Bridges. My gosh, he's been great. That whole Hornets team's fun, and they're just going to get better as the season goes on. LaMelo is great to watch, and Miles has been crazy this year. You get James Bouknight. You just watched him do a huge dunk the other day. That team's just so much fun. Easily the most fun team in the league. I lived in Charlotte, and I had the time. I would make the time to just have season tickets and just go to all their home games because they're so much fun. But then I'd get to watch their away games, their broadcast teams. That'd be sweet. So, yeah, the Hornets were most watchable. And if you were an NBA fan and you're like, no, Suns, I completely get it. Just not as big in the Suns. So, all right, that's all for the sports. We can just wrap up. Got a couple things here, then we're going to wrap up with some NFL. So I watched James Gunn's Suicide Squad. I really liked that. It was about 2-3 weeks ago. I think I mentioned that on the BS. Yeah, the Big Salad. I mentioned that. Really liked it. Like a 9 out of 10. Probably one of the best movies I've seen all year. Probably. I really understand now why they gave Cena his own show for Peacemaker. I'll be watching that when that comes out. I really liked it. I think it's one of the most unique superhero movies I've ever seen, and I'd like to see more of it. I think if you haven't watched it, I think anybody could really enjoy that one too. I'm not sure if it's better than Guardians of the Galaxy, though. I think Guardians is still his best work, but this is a close second. It's better than Guardians 2. I like Guardians 2, I just don't love it. But this really gives Guardians a run for its money, but it's a completely different feel, and I think that's his thing, is he made this so differently than any other superhero movie, or really movie in general you've seen, so it's like, yeah, it's tough. It's really shot really well too, so it's hard to compare it to things. It's so different. It has really great cinematography, so props to James Gunn, everybody on that. I mean, every performance is great. I love the costuming. They made it look like a comic book. It's like one of the most comic booky superhero movies I've ever seen in my life. So it was amazing. I loved it. It's the best DC movie, hands down, for me. I like Shazam a lot. It's probably that one, Shazam, then Wonder Woman. I know I have Shazam over Wonder Woman. I really like Shazam. So now we get to the important part. Spider-Man No Way Home. I'll be seeing that Thursday. I get to luck out and get to see it. Technically a day before it officially releases, but I get to see it Thursday. Very excited for that. Theater near me is showing it on a Thursday. So I haven't even watched any reviews because I'm so excited that I'm actually scared of listening to a review. Just like, what if they're like, oh, there's a big surprise at the end? Like, I don't want to have any idea. I just want to go in thinking and hoping that Andrew and Toby will show up. And when they do, I can be like, I kind of expected it, but I didn't really expect it. So I just want that. It's like kind of like CM Punk coming back. It's like, I think he's going to be back, but I don't want to like get too invested in it because what if he doesn't? So I'm also like, I'm more excited in this than I was for Endgame, and I thought I'd never be excited for a movie more than I was Avengers Endgame, and this has done it because to me, this is like the Ryan Klinger Endgame. Like, we are getting his childhood favorite, I guess, because J. Jonah Jameson's already back. But my childhood favorite and Tobey Maguire come back with my new favorite, Tom Holland and all that, and it's like favorite superhero. It's everything I've ever wanted in a Spider-Man movie, and it's got so much expectation. It's got to live up for me. I'm actually scared to see it because I'm like, what if it doesn't live up? I know I'm really stressing myself out about a freaking Spider-Man movie, but hey, priorities. So I'm very excited for it. I can't wait. I'm probably going to see it 4 or 5 times. I've already got planned to see it 2 times this week because my friends want to go out with me this weekend and all see it. So, and then I might just, I don't know. But yeah, I'm so excited for it. I can't wait. And I'm definitely doing a review on it. Probably on my own. I think it's going to be too big to just make my special section, but I might give a teaser or something. So, yeah, I can't wait for it. I've been avoiding spoilers like ever since Tuesday. I just don't even look anything up. If I see Spider-Man, I just click away. I don't want to know anything. So that's why I'm also going on Thursday, because I can't have it spoiled for me. I got lucky. I went and saw Endgame on a Sunday, so it was a day before Monday. And once the weekend goes, everybody's seen it and talks about it. And the people that haven't just are like, oh, okay, you can tell me, it's whatever. I already know. So, yeah. I'm so excited for this movie. And, I mean, this is the movie of the year for me. So, if it isn't, it should be better than Dune for me. I think no matter what happens, Dune will probably be technically better. Like, from a technical, maybe it's not. Maybe No Way Home is just that freaking good. But this movie's, like, incredibly built up in my head. So, I think in everybody's, too. They've hyped this movie up like it's going to be, like, the best Marvel movie and the best Spider-Man movie, which would thus make it, like, one of the best Marvel movies. So, it's got a lot to live up to, and I really hope it does. I also started on HBO Succession. That show's really interesting. It's a drama. My cousin really wanted me to watch it. She's really in, like, artsy stuff and a lot more dramas than I am, but started watching it. I really like it. It's got Kieran Culkin, who's Macaulay Culkin's brother, in it. He was in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I watched him in that. And then it's got Alan Ruck in it. It's the only thing I've ever seen him in other than Ferris Bueller. He's the guy that's Ferris Bueller's best friend. The guy that his dad's car gets drove out of the house. Yeah, he's in it. He's good in it. It's really interesting drama. Like, if I pitch it to you, it sounds really boring, where it's just like this old man who turns 80 years old, and he runs this massive media company, and he has to hand it down to his family, and then he decides not to, and then family drama ensues. Yeah, that sounds like a really dumb, boring show or a really crappy soap opera. It's not, I promise. It's very interesting, and the characters are interesting, and every episode I go in thinking, wow, this is probably not going to be that. Like, I've watched first episode thinking, I don't think it's going to be very engaging. And by the end, I was like, crap, I got to watch the next one. And I was like, and the episode started. I'm like, there's no way they keep this interesting. And then it was interesting. I'm like, how did they have this going on for 3 seasons? And I remember when I didn't even know what happened when it first came out. Second season, I started hearing some chatter from it, like the Bill Simmons podcast, some other podcast I heard talking about it. Season 3, the show's like kind of blown up now. Like, they made an NBA Succession style trailer for, like, it's kind of like one of HBO's big shows now, but like it's been a bit of a rise. Like, it wasn't that when it came out. It wasn't huge immediately, and now it's pretty big. So I really like it. It's actually lived up to the hype, and it was very hyped up for me because I just started it. So yeah, I've been really impressed. I've only watched 2 episodes though, so I don't have like too much to say. I mean, there's 10 episodes per season, and they're each like an hour long, so it's gonna take me a bit. All right, so now let's wrap up with potential Super Bowls. I'm always big on what's fun to watch and the narratives and how it all goes. So let's run through the most fun narrative and football-wise for the Super Bowl because we're getting close. Obviously, it would be very fun to see a Browns Packers is actually pretty fun. I gave something stupid though. All right, it'd be fun to see a Jaguars Lions. No, it actually wouldn't. I don't know. I'm giving it. It has to be realistic, like record-wise, like they can actually legit happen. Certain teams like the Bills, I don't know what's the most fun Bills Super Bowl. Honestly, the most fun game for the Bills would be the AFC title against the Chiefs or the Ravens or something like that. That's more interesting to me. Or like the Patriots. Like to me, the AFC title game is the most interesting for the Bills. Same thing with the Browns. I think the Browns' best interesting game becomes against the Patriots or the Chiefs or like the Ravens in the AFC title or divisional game or something like that, if they would make a Super Bowl run. So potential Super Bowls. Obviously, one of the top is Battle for LA, which I think still has really good odds of happening if the Chargers can get their defense together. And I think it's very interesting because Herb could have a Super Bowl his second year in the NFL, which is pretty crazy. I mean, Mahomes had his third year, but it was really his second year as a starter, so that's pretty crazy as a full-time starter. So, but I'm honestly worried the Rams win that. I think the Rams are really the Rams have reek, and I mean reek, of team that we are during the regular season has all this stuff, gets all these pieces, and everybody hypes them up, and then they lose a couple games, and people are like, oh, we overhyped them, and then the playoffs come and they blow up. Bucks last year were like that. Everybody's like, oh, we overhyped the Bucks. Then the playoffs came and they blew up and they just tore it up. The Rams reek of that. Like they're just gonna kill it once the playoffs come. So I really think that's gonna be very possible. So watch out, and hopefully Odell's back by then because I think he just tested positive for COVID. So. Next up, Chiefs-Packers. That'd be great for me and my buddy AJ. He's a big Packers fan, and I think the Chiefs would beat them. And Mahomes would be in 3 straight Super Bowls and win 2. And that looks good. And I do think Mahomes is going to be one of the greatest of all time. So that would be a fun one. But honestly, the only problem with this is I don't know. I think at least one of these teams is going to lose before the Super Bowl. Most likely the Chiefs out of the two. But I'm not high on either of them being the Super Bowl. I think both of them are very good odds of being their conference titles, but I think if it's Chargers-Chiefs, that's a coin toss for me at the moment. Maybe I'd favor the Chiefs a little bit. And then if it's Packers-Rams, I'm taking Rams. So I think the battle for LA is a little more probable than the Packers-Chiefs one. Chargers-Packers. No, sorry, not Chargers-Packers. Rams-Chiefs is pretty fun, I guess. I don't know if it's Rams, really your best, most fun Super Bowl with the Rams is the Chargers one because it's in LA too. It's in SoFi. It's SoFi or SoFi? I think it's SoFi. Maybe it's SoFi. Whatever. Ravens Cardinals is fun to me because it just you get Lamar being Lamar, and then you get that fun Cliff Kingsbury offense. And it'd be like kind of opposites attract. But granted, Murray scrambles a good amount, but I mean, he'd just be bombing it. And then Lamar would just be running all over. It would be awesome. So I think that'd be very interesting. Then we have Chiefs-Cardinals. I think Chiefs are the only team I have on up here twice, and that's probably because I'm a little biased towards my homie. But my issue, I would love to put the Chargers up here more, but my issue is I don't know what team's really interesting for them to go up against. I think the Chiefs-Cardinals really fun because it's just like, who has the better offense, but actually their defense is really good, and that would be fun. Because it's like the Chiefs, obviously we always talk about the offense, but this year it's kind of been the defense. The offense hasn't been doing well. And the Cardinals' defense has stepped it up, and the offense is, having some injury issues. So I think that one's pretty fun. It's the least fun of everything I've listed. I was trying really hard to think of a Cowboys one. I think Cowboys-Chargers is actually kind of cool because you get Herbert against that great Cowboys defense. Whoever thought, defense would be the big Cowboys thing, whatever. Also, I do think Micah Parsons should be Defensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. He's been crazy. It's him or Garrett. It's going to be Parsons or Garrett. And both of them deserve it. And I think Garrett has better odds. But I think it's kind of cool for Micah to win because he's a rookie. And he's out of Penn State, so I got to love that. But either way, if it's Garrett or Micah, you'll hear no complaining from me. Maybe a little bit if it's Micah, just because I think Garrett has been close every year. But Garrett's going to end his career with like 3 or 4 anyway. Micah's having the freaking year of his life as a rookie. So, And then finally, the best possible Super Bowl in NFL history. And if the NFL is rigged or was rigged or whatever, they would want it to be this. And honestly, you can't complain. Everyone in America would tune in for this. This would be the biggest Super Bowl ever. The halftime show we know is going to be awesome. It's in LA. This would literally be the biggest Super Bowl of all time. And I think it's honestly the most probable on this list. I'm very excited because I'd love to see it happen. Like me and my friends talked, it's like now that you know what it is, Pats Bucks. But as my friends and I talk, it's like now that Brady left, it's like I respect the Patriots and I respect Brady. It's like now that the two have split, there's a lot less hate and people are just more respectful. Especially once Brady won at the Bucks, it was like, okay. Now, Quinn, we can't speak for Quinn. Quinn's still on the hate train, but that's Quinn for you. So, yeah, I think this would just be awesome. I think I'd root Patriots because I want to see the torch be handed down. But, I mean, if Brady wins it, holy crap. 8 freaking chips. 1 over Bill, the ultimate FU to Bill Belichick. That'd be amazing. So, I think I'd root Pats, but because I want to see that torch passing. But that's crazy. Crazy. Talk about succession, am I right? I actually didn't think of that joke. Bleacher Report made like a mock succession for Gridiron Heights where they had Mac Jones be like the heir to Brady's throne or whatever, but it was still pretty good pun, whatever. All right, so I hope you enjoyed episode 19. There's about 20 minutes of footage that has never been recorded, so I guess it's not even really footage. It was just me rambling, and then I summarized it. Maybe I should do that every episode now so you can get it more concise, but I think people seem to enjoy the banter. So I think I left my banter that was about the top 5 chips. I hope that's still in there. If not, I decided it was Doritos. Sorry, number 1 is Ruffles. Number 2 is Doritos. Number 3 is Pringles. Honorable mention, Sun Chips. The best for each. Best is the cheese for the Ruffles. Best is just the nacho cheese for Doritos, but shout out to the purple ones that are the spicy chili, and shout out to the taco flavored ones. The best Pringle is probably sour cream and onion, but I understand if you say original or cheese. Even vinegar, I kind of get that too. And then the best Sun Chip has got to be, it's tough. I mean, original cheese or sour cream and onion, you can't go wrong, but honestly, it's probably garden salsa. Garden salsa is so good. We got to have like something to drink with it because those actually, those hit, like the spice hits. All right. Also, I just realized the picture I put in of Steph Curry when he broke the record. There's a guy in a Davidson uniform. That's pretty cool. All right. That was it. That was the episode. I think this is the longest one I've ever had that was just me, but I had a lot to talk about. So, makes sense. See you all in the next one. I'll see you Monday on the BS, and then we'll have a special episode up. And I'll be seeing Spider-Man tomorrow, and I'll be crazy hype. I already am crazy hype. I'll be even more. See you.